And you, I don't want to talk nothing with you. If I come back here, you dead me. Then I just realized that, wow, I don't know this place, I don't know anyone. They're gonna kill me. I take my bag. 1 o'clock, I go out. It was night.
That's Mr. B talking about his last night before he became homeless. We met him in 2011 while he was living in a park for about 8 months.
The money that I was having was finished because not too much. Then I ended up on the street.
Over the past 7 years, I've met hundreds of people living on the streets of Cape Town and in Cape Town's shelters. A few of those people I've kept in contact with and wanted to find out from them what it was like living on the streets. This is their account of street and shelter life in Cape Town. Besides from Mr. B, we'll be hearing from Riggs.
I've been staying on the street for about 7 years, on and off.
And from Dane.
I was on the streets about for 4.5 years, fully in active addiction.
My name is Richard Bolland, and these are the New Hope stories. So how does one end up on the street? What circumstances lead to someone having no place to call their home?
The life that I was living at home was not nice because too much children and a different father. We have a big brothers, those who treating us like you have your own father and who are you? You are nothing. So for that thing, I just chose to go out because they were fight, beating each other, like people watching us, laughing at us, breaking window if they're drunk. So I chose to go on my way because there's no life at home.
For Mr. B, it was a choice to leave a toxic family environment. For Riggs, it was something different altogether.
My dad wasn't there for me. I was staying with my mom. My mom was alone with me and 2 other kids, my sister and my brother. I ended up using drugs. I started stealing at home. And then the 30th of December 2010, I stole my sister's phone. And me and my sister was very close and I couldn't face her. After a while, I went back home, asked for forgiveness and tried going into recovery and stuff. But the need was there to change, but not the want, really.
Not all of Cape Town's homeless are actually from Cape Town. Mr. B was escaping hostile living conditions in Limpopo, hoping to find a better life here in Cape Town. What you're about to hear next is unfortunately a common story for people seeking a better life in our beautiful but hurting city.
When I came to Cape Town, I come to Khayelitsha. There to Khayelitsha because I hear that there's a people living on the shack. So I go there, I end up in Khayelitsha. Khayelitsha, I meet a guy, he said he have a place for me. Then this guy was drinking, so we go to the tavern where, I buy him beer because I was still having little money. Yes. So we meet the girl there. He said to me, this girl, you leave her alone. She can take care of you. I go there and live with her. Then only was one night, only one night or 2 nights, I don't know. Another guy came at night, during the night, 12 o'clock. He said, where is she? I said, where is she? Who? He said, where is she? I said, wow. And you, I don't want to talk nothing with you. If I come back here, you dead me. Then I just realized that, wow, I don't know this place, I don't know anyone. They're gonna kill me. I take my bag. 1 o'clock, I go out. It was night. I just left and then I find my way to look for a job, and it's when I get on the streets because the money that I was having was finished because not too much. Then I end up on the street.
Disconnected from family, alone, and trying to survive in a relentless city. This is the plight of the homeless in Cape Town. And if things are bad during the day, problems get worse at night when it comes to finding a place to rest your head.
On the street is difficult because you must find a safe place, because there's a rude people who can come and ask you money and take your clothes, and like if you must find a safe one, like sleep as a group. Sometimes if you are only one, you must find a place like a big grass so no one can see you. So that it was so difficult, but we're just praying as we wake up in the morning saved.
There were days where I had a couple of shelters that I stayed in the Cape Town, a few shelters, and about maybe 4 or 5. But the other times, I had no home. I've been on the roads, looking for undercover parking or front of shops to sleep, and especially when it gets raining, yeah.
That was Dale again. You might remember him saying he suffered from addiction earlier in this episode. Substance abuse, whether it's alcohol or drugs, is very common on the street. Not only is it often how people end up on the street, it's often how people cope with living on the street. Here's Riggs, another former addict.
Due to me not knowing Cape Town and me being highly in crime activities and stuff, I wouldn't sleep during the night. I would use meth, and then I would go and steal and stuff and Sea Point, because you can't steal in Cape Town. And I would sleep during the day, but as time went on, I did lower crime. I would stole smaller stuff and stuff. So then I would do that during the day.
The average person doesn't get to hear these stories. They don't get to see the struggle. And I don't say that as a judgment. Sometimes it's difficult to see past what's in front of you. And so often what's in front of you is simply another beggar. Another person asking for money or food or clothes. So naturally, if we respond, we try and meet the need that's been asked of us. We give a handout, but it's temporary. And maybe it's not always helping the way we think it is.
It made me feel good because that wasn't actually my way of getting money and stuff. Like I said, I was more into doing crime and stuff. I was thinking a lot of myself to go and ask people. But if people would come up to me without me even asking and would buy me some food and stuff, I would appreciate it. And then there are times where my substance use disorder would have the better of me, and if it would be something of value, I would go and sell it to support my substance use disorder. Sometimes you are hungry, you take the food, you eat it, but most of the times your substance use disorder gets the better of you and you'll go and sell the food.
I was always a guy that was working, so I worked for my money and I worked and I just used it on drugs, even if I used all my money. And when I didn't have money, I would lend by people, money lenders, or just hustle on the streets, asking people, loafing by people, 1 rand, 2 rand, where I was in my very lowest point, and that's what I would get.
For most of us, it's difficult to imagine needing to hustle like Dale on the streets. If we need money, we have family or friends who would be more than happy to help. We live in communities where our needs can be easily met if we're not able to meet them ourselves. On the street, it's a different story.
There's no such thing as friends or community or family once you stay on the street. You would come forth to someone to be their friend or a family member just to get something out of them, to get the best over you. Like you said, it's every man for himself. Yeah.
Dale has a slightly different experience than Riggs, but sadly, it's still a tainted one.
Well, the people that I've been communicating with on streets, there is genuine friends. The only bad thing that they're doing drugs. As I live my life today, or I am, I can especially say, I was just a normal person to be myself and meet new friends and just use with them. But they are definitely good people. They're just bad because they're using drugs.
The good news is that we're listening to the stories of 3 men who've made it off the streets and are currently living in semi-independent places across Cape Town. But how much is their future secure, and do they have hope that they're off the streets for good?
On that, it's just because I have a dream. Yes, I have a dream. For myself, being on the streets or whatever I am, it's not that I want. Life is hard. I have a dream. I just want to see myself in my place I can call myself, having a wife, children, working for my family, just see myself like a responsible person.
And one motivation would be, like there was a time in my life that I was hopeless and faithless. I stopped believing in humanity, the way things were going in my life, stopped believing in God. And all along not knowing that God was actually molding and shaping me for my future. And look what I've got now, all due to God and God using you and you people to help me. And it's, for me, that's my miracle that I received from God. And because out of my own, I couldn't have achieved what I've got today. My family wouldn't have spent a cent on me anymore. So, yeah.
When Riggs was saying God was using you and your people, he was talking about New Hope. New Hope is an NGO set up to help the homeless here in Cape Town. More on that later. But first, Dale wanted to give a shout out to his role model.
Well, to be honest, I used to dance a lot, so Michael Jackson was actually, I was actually a fan of Michael Jackson.
That's it for the first episode of New Hope Stories. We're hoping to share more stories with you in the weeks to come. If you're keen to help the homeless situation here in South Africa, here's Riggs with some final thoughts.
I thought you're going to ask me something like that, and I thought about that answer also. Firstly, I'd say if you want to give someone clothes, don't give a person new clothes, because most of us would go and sell it. Don't buy us like Steers, KFC and stuff like that. That's something we're gonna go and sell. But like what you guys are doing at St. Peter's, giving out a warm meal with bread, soup, coffee, and like in Cape Town, there's some people that come to the parade and then they would give a cup of soup with a few slices of bread, share a minister sharing the word, a motivational word or so, and that goes a long way. Blankets in winter, not new blankets, otherwise we go and sell it. Like you can buy yourself new blankets and give your old ones to people that's less fortunate, yeah.
Thanks for watching the New Hope Stories vodcast. You can support New Hope by taking a snap of the QR code on the screen and donating money towards shelter fees and treatment fees for our homeless friends. Until next time, goodbye.